Hey everybody, how's it going? Here we have Clinton the cat. Say hi, Mr. Clinton. He's not in the mood right now. He gave me this kind of snarl that's like GTFO. Anyway, so today I want to discuss a trend that makes me really sad. It's a trend that I've discussed in this channel before, which is other companies copying the negative aspects of Apple design without copying the positive aspects of what makes people want to actually purchase their products. So I am so old, I have so many gray hairs that I actually remember when Samsung used to brag about the fact that they had liquid resistance while maintaining a user-removable battery, a micro SD card slot, and a headphone jack. I know, crazy times, all things that have been lost, and there's even more that we're going to discuss in this video. So, as I've said in the past, they actually made commercials bragging about the fact that they had a headphone jack and mocking Apple for it, and then they took down those commercials after they removed the headphone jack. They started producing earbuds that they do not sell batteries to, so you can replace the earbuds, you can replace the battery in some of their headphones, but they tell the manufacturer of the battery, don't sell it to anybody but us. Very similar to what Apple does with chips like the ISL 9240 and CD3217. And Apple will often serialize parts so that a certain part will only work with this device, and it will not work properly without being paired again, as in with, let's say, with their home buttons. And that is something that Samsung started doing with some of their screens. So this is a really sad trend, which is that Apple does something that's bad for do-it-yourself repair, independent repair, or just bad for someone that wants a device with basic features like a user-removable battery, a headphone jack, or a micro SD card slot. And recently, they took one step further. So Hugh Jeffries, who has an amazing channel on YouTube, great teardowns, great reviews, I highly suggest you check him out, did a video last year on how if you take the housing between two iPhone 12s that you bought at the Apple Store and you swap them, so the camera will no longer work. So if you take the board from this working iPhone 12 and you put it in this other working iPhone 12, the camera will not work properly. Recently, Apple has taken some steps to fix that due to bad press, and it seems like Samsung realized, hey, people kind of roll over for that. So what they do right now is if you unlock the bootloader to get full control over your device because you don't want the bootloader to be locked, they will disable the camera. They will not simply disable the face recognition feature, because I could even understand, even if I disagree with the argument, that if you unlock the bootloader, they're not going to allow you to unlock the phone using your camera for security purposes. If you unlock the bootloader on this device, excuse me, I apologize. If you unlock the bootloader on this device, they will disable the camera. So it says here from XDA developers, Samsung kills the camera on the Galaxy Z Fold if you unlock the bootloader. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a we analyze the code and we think it may be done this way. This is a screenshot from the phone. Unlock the bootloader to install custom operating system software. Doing so will cause the camera to be disabled and may cause your phone or apps to stop working correctly. Warning, camera failed, couldn't register face. Now again, it could be semi-argued that there is a security implication here if you were going to still allow the face recognition feature to work after hacking into the bootloader, unlocking the bootloader. That being said, to disable all cameras on the device because the bootloader has been unlocked, in my opinion, that's some bullshit. I'm very curious to hear what you all think down below of this trend where companies that used to offer you more freedom, used to offer you more options, are actually used to brag about offering you more options, or offering you less and less options, less and less freedom, less and less repairability, just kind of walking that line along with Apple. Anything that they get away with, well, we might be able to get away with it too. I just love the fact that they actually had a commercial making fun of Apple for removing the headphone jack, and then they removed the headphone jack. It's ridiculous. I have a Samsung S10e here. I bought this used because I don't want Samsung to make any money off of me buying their products. I try to buy some things like this used so that the companies, if I'm kind of cornered into buying something that from a company that acts like this, I at least try to make it so they make the least amount of money off of me as possible. This is one of the few acceptable phones out there nowadays. It has a headphone jack, so I can plug my microphone that I have into it. I have a little microphone that I use for streams nowadays while charging, because the charge port is not the headphone input. So I have my microphone that I could plug into it, that little Rode shotgun. It has a micro SD card slot, so I can have a terabyte of storage if I so please, and it actually fits in my hand, which is something that you cannot say about 99% of modern smartphones, where you need to be Shaquille O'Neal in order to, touch something that's in the upper left corner of your phone. Hi, Mr. Clinton. You just swiped at me. So I'm kind of sad. I don't hate Samsung products, and I don't hate them as a company. I just wish that they would stop following down this path where they know what people value them for. They know because they built it into their marketing, into their advertising. We have a micro SD card slot, the competition doesn't. We have a user removable battery, the competition doesn't. We have a headphone jack, the competition doesn't. And then they just take all that away. And now they're even at the point where if you unlock your bootloader so that you have some freedom over what you get to install on your device. Because I grew up in a time where you could actually buy your computer hardware, where you could buy your motherboard, your hard drive, your RAM, and your CPU. And then once you've bought your hard drive, you could install any operating system on it that you wanted. And it wouldn't disable the functionality of the computer. It wouldn't be that if you install Linux that your FireWire or your USB port didn't work. Or, well, if it did, it was probably because you fucked up your compiling your kernel. But that's an entirely different story. And this is one of the freedoms that's being taken away with new devices. So as we switch over from full-fledged desktop computers and laptops into smartphones, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take away things that we have become accustomed to. Basic freedoms that we became accustomed to, like being able to choose, once I purchased the hardware, what software I put on the device. And it's becoming normalized. It's the same thing that's happening with electric cars. There's nothing about an electric car that makes it innately less repairable than an internal combustion engine vehicle. If anything, they should be easier to repair because there's less crap in there that's going to break. It's simpler. You have, your motor controller, your motor, your battery. You don't have, dozens and dozens of different little things that need to be replaced on a regular basis. What makes electric cars more difficult to fix is not that the technology is inherently less repairable because it's just way too complicated. It's because manufacturers are not making available what it is you need to be able to do the job. It's normal to us that we be able to buy a spark plug. It's normal to you that you be able to buy, oil or a carburetor or transmission fluid or any of this stuff. But it's not normal for you to be able to buy a motor controller or any of the gears inside the windings or anything like that. So they just make it not available. Once they shift to a new paradigm, they try to get you used to less things being available. And the same thing's happening with the smartphone. Did we forget that just even right now, even a few years ago, when you bought a laptop or a desktop computer, you were able to choose what operating system you put on that machine. And when you buy a $1,000 smartphone, it's not outside the realm of probability. It's not outside the realm of understanding that you should be able to choose what operating system you put on it or what bootloader you put on it. And if you had a desktop motherboard manufacturer that was saying, we are going to disable the USB-C port if you install Linux. We are going to disable the USB port, the FireWire port, the PS2 port, the VGA port, HDMI, or any of this shit if you install Linux, people would lose their mind and stop buying from them. Yet when it comes to smartphones, we've kind of accepted it. But why? Why have we accepted this? It's a new paradigm where they're trying to introduce this is for your safety, this is for your security. But that argument never held true with the technology we had one generation ago. People would have pushed back against it. They would have revolted, and they didn't. Same thing with cars. It's for your safety. It's for your security. If you paint the bumper a little too much, maybe the radar won't work and the autopilot will crash into the other car. You don't want that, do you? That's unsafe. Yet just a generation ago, you could have people that were 18 years old that have never worked in a car before replace the brakes on their 4,000-pound vehicle that can go 80 miles an hour on a highway, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. If you messed up that repair, if you did something wrong, maybe you're not able to stop that thing that goes 80 miles an hour and you can kill people. But we accepted that level of freedom. And then when newer cars came out, we're slowly trying to take that away. What if it explodes? What if you get hacked? What if someone steals your data and then tries to sexually assault you in a parking lot? That seriously happened last year during Question 1 in Massachusetts. You can check out my channel for the commercials. And I don't think we should accept it with phones. I don't know why we accept it with phones. I don't know why people are not speaking up about this every single effing day. But we have to, or we're never going to get our freedom back. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think it makes total sense for the manufacturer to turn off a bunch of features if you decide to install a different bootloader, unlock your bootloader, install a different operating system? Do you think that that's a normal thing? Or do you think that that's insane and that we should push back against it more? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.